Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Success Insight podcast. Today is Mindset Monday, and when it's Mindset Monday, you know who our guest is going to be. It's Andrée Martin, our leadership mindset and golf performance coach. Andrée is an LPGA Class A Life member, a nationally recognized top 50 golf teacher and expert, and a member of the Maine Golf Hall of Fame, recognizing golf's value as a business tool in today's competitive marketplace. Andrée works with individuals, groups, corporate, or organizational clients to create educational and team-building programs that enhance the professional success of aspiring executives. It's always a pleasure to have Andrée return to join us on the Success Insight podcast for our series Mindset Monday, and so excited to learn what is Andrée going to share with us today. So Andrée Martin, welcome to Mindset Monday.
Thank you, Howard. As always, it's great to be back for Mindset Monday with you. This is always fun. And today's topic is everyone should work with a coach.
I agree. Tell us about why should everyone work with a coach?
Well, we've constantly been following the theme of go for the gold and don't settle for silver. And I've had the very good fortune of teaching golf to many top-level executives, presidents of companies, golf professionals, and no one succeeds or gets to the top alone. And I can't think of a better example while we're speaking for going for the gold, and this being an Olympic year that we were hoping to have an Olympic year that will be hopefully occur next year. In 2002, Michelle Kwan was a very high-level skater, was paid, had huge endorsements, big media. She was dialed in, winning every national championship possible. The one thing she didn't have was Olympic gold. And for some reason, right before the Olympics, she terminated her all-time coach because she wanted to show the world that she could win on her own. And think about that a moment. How did she get that far? And then in that same year, that same Olympics, 16-year-old Sarah Hughes was very intensely speaking to and listening to her coach before she got out on the ice. They were fully engaged. She was very excited. You could tell her whole energy was just so positive. She was walking like a champion, carrying herself like a champion. With confidence, she skated out on the ice and performed like never before, including performing the quadruple jump that no other female skater had ever attempted before in a competition. And she did it in the Olympics and did it twice, flawlessly. She went for the gold with 100% support of her coaching team.
Sure. The interesting, and I think we can go and interview list after list of successful leaders in whatever industry, whatever role they actually play in the company. And I think a true leader will tell you, I could not have done it without my team behind me. And part of that team is, in many cases, we hope a lot of cases, is having a coach who is there to support them and work with them. They're not going to do the work for them, but they're going to be there to offer their expertise, their help, their support to help that athlete or that leader succeed under whatever target they are focusing in on.
Absolutely. And I've made it a point to interview these executives when I'm working with them in their golf games. And it's very interesting because the big keys that they always mention is listen, surround yourself by quality people that can fill in your weaknesses and play to your strengths, and keep an open mind in building and listening to everything that the team has to say. And then you make this decision to go for it. And it's interesting because I've always stated in teaching golf that for me, it's always a fun game within the game, in that I always look when I'm working with each student, I want to find out what makes them tick and what key pieces do they need for their success. And it's fascinating how everybody is different. So the art for me as a coach is finding out which of the 10 ways to say the same thing best suits them. And I always strive to get it in the first 3 shots at it. It's always fun for me. And what's so beautiful about it is, if you think about it, if there's 10 different ways to say the same thing, and there's no 2 golf swings that look the same, but yet there are the same fundamentals for everything. There's so many moving parts. You've got grip, stance, posture, alignment, and balance. The GPA plus B that I've spoken about in other podcasts are fundamental to everything, just like business. You've got your team, you've got your managers, you've got your players in the game, the salespeople, and then everybody has their role to play within it. And then it's the dynamics, and the beauty of the leader is taking those dynamics and fitting them into this beautiful puzzle piece where it's synergistic and works together. And then it can take that and translate it to a golf swing, in that the golf swing is all about sequencing every body part that works together in a team for you, the individual. And that's very much like success, because we're always looking to coaches. We're always listening to podcasts like this, like the podcasts that you offer with successful people and how they've done it and how they've made it. And there's really no 2 people that are the same, but there's common themes.
It's not lost on me that even within, you had mentioned everybody's swing is different. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody's coach is different. And it's up to the client, your client, my client, to decide, is this coach helping me, challenging me to achieve the goals that I want to achieve?
Sure.
And because our approaches are all different.
Sure. And that's also why so many of today's professional athletes have a team of coaches. It's not just one coach, they've got a team. They've got the nutritional coach, they've got the trainer, physical trainer. I'm actually working with members at clubs that have their trainer, and then they have their masseuse, and then some do have a nutritionist. High level, and it's morphing into everything that we do. And to be the best of the best, the way to level up is to find those coaches that know how to bring that out in you. And that's the fun of coaching. It's asking the right questions, really listening, and then pulling out the best in each person. And do they like technical, or do they like it simple? And how can you work and dial into their creative self and how their brain works the best? And I'm sorry, I could play golf well without a coach, but without the tools that I know that most people need to play their best, just like in business, if I didn't have the right coaches teaching me how to do social media, and if I didn't have the opportunity of this podcast to get the word out, I wouldn't be the best and on top of my game either. We all need a coach to keep us cheerleading, keep us amped up, to keep us focused in and dialed in on what corporations will say the bottom line, but for us, what really advances and what is going to get us to optimize our success and revenue and best play and best performance.
It dawns on me in I don't know, maybe the 40s, 50s, 60s, when we really didn't have a good sense of the role of, organizational leadership, because you had you had the very mechanical, I'm the leader, you do what I say. And right. I mean, things perhaps maybe were a little simpler, but they were complex in the moment in that day. Today things are just incredibly more complex. There's no way a leader can know everything he or she needs to know to succeed on their own. They have to have a supporting cast of players who are there, everything from Mindset Monday, to taking care of themselves, work-life balance, nutrition, how to communicate better with their team, how to lead meetings, how to get up and speak. So at any given point in time, there needs to be individuals who that leader can call on via their organization, or maybe they go out externally and look for coaches like you and I, but they have to be open to, I can't do it all. I may think I can, but in reality, I can't do it all. I need help. And the help is not because you couldn't do it, but the help is because there are so much to get done that we need another more eyes, hands to be a part of that supporting cast. So I'm thinking the sculling that goes down, in the water in the Olympics. I mean, you've got the person at the end of the boat, the bow on the boat, doing the cadence, calling out the cadence, and you have all the rowers. And if any one of those rowers is out of sequence, that boat's going to flounder. So everybody, you've got to bring everybody in to kind of work as the team. And I'm curious, in the profession of golf, back in, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. That's when Saturdays I would watch the golf tournaments, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, et cetera. I'm giving away my age at least. When did this need or realization for the value of an extended coaching team come into play? When did it get so complex that began to, it was no longer the exception, but it was the new reality?
Right. It really came about in the early 90s is what I want to say. It's interesting because Titleist Performance Institute established the TPI program, but it was really Tiger Woods and his intense desire to break every record in the book and to become the best he can be. And Annika on the LPGA side, Annika Sorenstam, did the same thing. And it was all about that. And then Phil Mickelson ensued. It was Tiger and Phil, the new, you had your Arnie and Jack, and this was the newer modern day leaders in the field, if you will, with Tiger and Phil. And they both had their team that covered your sports psychology, your training, your nutrition, and then you had your golf coaches. Phil went so far as to have a short game and a full swing coach. And all of the players today now do that. The tour, the mobile tour vans, there's a gym, there's trainers, and everybody has their specific trainers that they work with, and they go from site to site to site. All of that has expanded and grown the business of golf. And you got Bryson DeChambeau now. The modern day, they've amped it up even further. The guys and ladies are hitting it further than ever. And why? Because they're in shape. They've got tools. They've got social media where it has immediate feedback and information versus just going back to the hotel and hanging out at night. You've got one player feeding off of the other. How'd you do that? How'd you do this? And everybody's wanting to one up one another. It's in business, it makes me think of the phone wars. Apple comes out with a new phone, and then you got everybody else following. You've got Samsung right behind them, and then leading and jumping ahead, and then Apple jumps ahead. Everybody's going back and forth head to head. But all of those companies have to have their team and ducks in a row in order to launch that phone and to get ahead. And then if I were to now take that same concept and circle back to the golf equipment part of the industry, it's all engineering. When a new manufacturer comes out with a new model every year, I know back in my days when I worked for Ping, Ping bought the crash test technology for sound and compression to engineer the best possible driver. And I know the other manufacturers have done similar purchases. You've got your launch monitors, you've got all kinds of engineering and technology that go into equipment. And that's why these tour players also have so with the better equipment, they can perform that much better. And that's why they're hitting it so far. They're growing up with not just dad's clubs, they're growing up with you as kids and morphing into better and better equipment that fits them so they can go after it and hit it as hard as they want to and can and really build a great game. And then on top of that, you've got improved facilities at golf courses. You got better tournament play from kids when kids are younger, all the way through to tournament tour play. It's awesome.
It brings me to think we need to do a Mindset Monday episode on the future of golf. Golf in the we're in the 21st century now, 22nd century. Yeah, I'm curious what that'll be.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, yes. Andrée, before we head out today, is there anything else you would like to share from the perspective of everyone should work with a coach?
Well, just circling back to that Olympic example I gave in the beginning, Michelle Kwan did not win. She fell. And Sarah Hughes was flawless and did extremely well, winning the gold. And all of these Olympic athletes work so hard. And I have to commend all of them for hanging in there, even through COVID, and realizing that their dreams are dashed maybe this summer. But going to the mindset piece, a good athlete is always ready for that next opportunity. And they always know, okay, this means I've got 12 more months of practice to be even better than ever going into the next Olympics. And that's what it takes. A top CEO is always looking, okay, how can I step it up and be better than the next? And that's going for the gold for everyone.
Perfect. So, Andrée, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
Certainly. There's my website, andreegolf.com, and that's Andrée with 2 E's. My YouTube site is Andrée Martin Golf. There's LinkedIn and Facebook. Fantastic.
And we will, as usual, put the links into our show notes so folks can go back and learn more about you via your website, andreegolf.com, your YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Andrée, as usual, thank you so much for joining us on our podcast series, Mindset Monday. It is wonderful working with you and cannot wait until the next episode of Mindset Monday. So thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine, Howard. I look forward to the next one.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Andrée Martin, your leadership mindset and golf performance coach. Today's episode was Everyone Should Work with a Coach. And just to let you know, even us coaches have coaches. In the coaching profession, we have supervisors, we have mentors, we actually even have peer coaching because, all of our clients are going through their own unique struggle. Sometimes we as coaches need a little bit of help and some insight and perhaps another way to look at helping our clients solve whatever issues or goals that they need to have solved. And I would imagine with Andrée as well, even though she is coaching many top corporate leaders in the art of golf and in leadership and working with aspiring golf professionals, I would imagine if we were to ask Andrée, she would say she is a coach as well. So again, everyone should work with a coach. If this is a topic you'd like to talk about, hey, send me a note or send Andrée a note via our websites. You can easily get in touch with us. And, do visit us on our podcast page, successinsightpodcast.com. You can visit us on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages, Success Insight Podcast, as well as on our YouTube. And of course, all of the major podcast platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Pandora now, as well as Amazon Music. So we are everywhere. Our listeners are our listening community is growing exponentially, as well as the downloads on our podcast pages. So folks, lots of opportunities to listen, learn, and really work on that mindset. So hope you are getting the benefit out of this series as Andrée and I hoped you would. So again, we'd love to hear from you and hear how you're doing. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, practice social distancing, take care of yourself, your family, wear your mask, depending on when this podcast will get published, probably still in October. Get out there and vote, okay? Very important this election season. But again, whatever you're doing, just, take care of yourself. Take care of, be attuned into your needs, your family's needs, and in the community. And even if you need it, go find a coach, okay? So we'll see you on the next episode of the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.